Four Downs with Rich.
Here we go.
All righty then.
First down.
All right, let's give this one a whirl. Now that we're 7 weeks into the books, put it up, Mike Hoskins. Started off right here. The Bengals made the right choice, all right. Let's not forget when we were going through the NFL draft and ready for the NFL draft, the conversation was centered around the Bengals only after we stopped talking about all the quarterbacks, right? We knew it was Trevor Lawrence, and then you knew that the Jets were probably going to take Zach Wilson after the 49ers traded up to 3. And then the question is, what are the Falcons going to do? Are they going to go for a tight end and Kyle Pitts, or are they going to go for a quarterback? And then eventually, okay, what are the Bengals going to do? Eventually, we got to that. And the conversation was, got to get somebody. And there were a ton of Bengals fans who called into this show, and there was a famous meme that was going around of, Joe Burrow without Pene Sewell being drafted. He's on his back, as Jamar Chase is wide open. The pass isn't coming because he's on any wide receiver, right? Because Jalen Waddle is in the mix. Even Devontae Smith could have been in the mix there. But when he's protected, any wide receiver is wide open for Joe Burrow to throw to. That was the general sense of be sensible, take the lineman, Cincinnati. And the Cincinnati Bengals, when all came down to screw it. We're going to go take the kid from LSU, who Burrow knows very well, and threw most of his 60 touchdown passes to, or lion's share to. Interesting use of that term, since the Lions are the ones who wound up with Pene Sewell. But Jamar Chase, let's go take him. And then he drops all the passes in the preseason. Everyone's like, what are the Bengals doing? Well, Bengals were making the right choice, all right. Most receiving yards of any human being to come in the NFL through his first 7 games as a rookie. 201 yards against the Ravens. They made the right choice, all right. Don't forget what we were talking about from February all the way through to Jamar Chase's drafting, and then all the way through to him dropping tons of passes in the preseason. That's first down.
Second down.
We have reached the point of the NFL campaign where it's beginning to get late, early for a ton of teams, okay? We have reached the no sacred cows portion of the season. What do I mean? Sam Darnold, thanks for that start. You're 3-0. Isn't that great? And you're here in MetLife Stadium, and you're struggling against the Giants in the same way that you were seeing ghosts frequently for the Jets in that stadium. And we've already picked up your 5th-year option, and you're our guy, but we're benching you. You're sat. You're sat, and it doesn't matter how poorly this guy's performing. We're not putting you back in the game. That's P.J. Graham. That's no sacred cow right there. And, you run the risk. Matt Rule's now got to own a benched quarterback starting the next week for Carolina. And we'll see how that works out. But there's no sacred cows in Detroit either, where Dan Campbell's coming to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. And he's pulling out fake punts and onside kicks in the first quarter, which does, by the way, give an indication to your team to say, we need to do more than just the conventional. We've got to do stuff that is out of the box. We've got to do stuff that basically means I don't think we could just play him straight up and beat him. And that's something that his team has got to deal with. And he's got to look them in the face after that and say, we tried. And man, did they try like heck and almost pulled off that W, and they're still winless, and they're still trying like heck. Well, there's no sacred cows right now. We've reached that portion already of week 7 for a couple of teams. Third down.
Third down.
So when a team is, say, 5-2 through 7 weeks.
That's a good record.
Or a team is 4-2 through 7 weeks because they're on a bye week. Or they're 7-0, or they're 6-1. Those quarterbacks of those teams, we talk about them as most valuable, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Most valuable player in the NFL. And there's a lot of people pounding the drum, even for a running back in the diminisher for 5-2 Tennessee. So even if the quarterback's not being the table pounded for 5-2, somebody on the team is. It is now time to pound the table loudly for Derek Carr of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh.
For most valuable player in the National Football League. This guy just came up with his second career game of a completion percentage of more than 90% in a game with more than 30 pass attempts. So it wasn't just like I'm completing 90% of my passes and it's just 12 passes. Over 30. Second time he's done that in his career. It's like, well, it's a passing league, Rich. What does that mean? Well, since 1950, only one other quarterback has done it, period. That's it. Once. Drew Brees in 2019. Derek Carr has now done it twice. Derek Carr in the last 2 weeks against the Blitz. 13 of 16, 239 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 158.3 passer rating. Rich, why are you just talking about against the Blitz? Quarterbacks can kill the Blitz. It's not just Derek Carr. Well, that's not the only Blitz Derek Carr has been facing in the last 2 weeks, right? All accounts that I hear from Las Vegas, Nevada, is the one person in that locker room. There's a lot of leaders in that locker room, but one person who has been holding it all together after they lost their coach, his next-door neighbor, out of the blue, is Derek Carr. He is more valuable than just the quarterback of the team. But a quarterback of a team, you want to talk about a 21st century story, we have finally, it gets lost in the shovel. A coach lost his job because of what he was emailing. Okay? Like that didn't happen in the 60s because there was no email. Even though some of the sentiments that was ascribed to Gruden in those emails, previous coaches in the history of football might have felt similar. Coach is gone, right? Coach is gone. Poof. Derek Carr has stepped into the fray, and he has performed more than admirably on the field, and apparently just as admirably for his team when they needed it most. And this team's 5-2, and you can't sit here and say they're not in the mix in this division and in this conference. And I know in previous years they have stumbled, and might again this year. But for the moment, between week 7 and 8, Derek Carr should have the table pounded for most valuable player. So I just did that. 4th down.
4th down.
Okay. I mean, that 3rd down might have been a hot take a little bit, but
why? Because he's Derek Carr? Is that why? Because he's Derek Carr?
Nothing,
you know?
Yeah,
I don't know why people slag on him.
It's not that sexy. I mean, I know he's second in pass yards right now, but only 12 touchdown passes.
Okay.
He gets sacked a lot.
Got it.
That team's playing for him, though.
Don't you think so? That's
I
what
recognized
I mean.
it that day after the press conference. I came in here and said I thought it was over for Oakland, or I'm sorry, for Las Vegas.
Yes.
Not anymore. Like, I think they're playing for that coach. They're playing for Carr. They're playing for one another. Don't give up on the Raiders. I agree with you.
I mean, I'm the one that picked them to make the playoffs in here, not you guys. So.
Okay, I got it. That's why I'm just saying, let's pound the table for him for most valuable player.
Okay.
Like we would like we had for Justin Herbert when they were 4-1.
True.
Right?
I mean,
like you're doing for Josh Allen. We do it here for 4-2. I just want to give him a little bit of a run.
Okay. Fair.
My 4th down hot take playing.
What do you got?
Something I hope that changes the fortune of my hot takes.
Well, they haven't been great.
I said the Chiefs weren't going to lose more than 1 game for the rest of the season. They've since lost 2 of 3. I mentioned that the Bills aren't going to only lose 1 more game the rest of the season, right?
Immediately lost.
Did they immediately lose?
Yeah, immediately.
Okay, they immediately lost. Tennessee Titans are playing very well right now. Tennessee Titans
We're going here?
Are playing very well.
We're going to go here?
Tennessee Titans are only going to lose 1 game the rest of the season. One of these broken clocks is going to be right. Putting markers down everywhere.
Wow.
The table's wired. I got to hit the point.
Okay.
On this pass line or run line.
What's the schedule
At
here?
Indianapolis this week.
Okay.
At the Rams after that. That's a Sunday nighter, by the way, in SoFi.
We're there.
Home for the Saints. Home for Houston. At New England. Home for Jacksonville. At Pittsburgh. Home for San Francisco and Miami. Then at Houston. That's a hot take. It's a hot take.
But I feel like,
it's a hot take.
Of that schedule, they might lose this week. Rams, maybe Patriots.
Well, don't blame me, Titans fans. I nicknamed him the Diminisher, and he likes it. That's my 4 down.
I enjoy you tripling down on this bit.
Well, it's the Letterman rule of comedy.
Just keep going.
Take something, keep mentioning it, keep joking about it, then pound it into the dirt, and then keep talking about it. and then it'll still be funny or try to be.
So if the Titans lose this week, who's next week? Bengals?
I don't know. I might have to start looking at the NFC.
Green Bay? Yeah.
Might have to look at the NFC. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.